Hey, that's me, Mario. A tutti quanti, tanto piacere. I'm very happy to be in podcast and just to keep watching the show all the time.
Special challenge match, Super Mario.
Super Mario,
Yeah, he's
back
been
in the
here before.
USOA, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be glad to see him back. Galaga will be his opponent in a special challenge match coming up.
Hey everybody, welcome to Karak Kast, and I have a very special guest with me today on the podcast. I have Mr. Claudio Monterossi, known in the wrestling world as Super Mario. How are you today, sir?
Oh, pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm really good, and I'm glad you could join us here today because this channel is a gaming channel, and we also cover wrestling, so you're technically the perfect guest for this channel and podcast. And I can't wait.
Thank you for having me there.
Okay. And I can't wait to dive into a lot of questions I have for you today.
Oh, wow.
And so, a few weeks ago, I heard about you for the first time and then started looking on the internet. And then I found and I reached out to you because I have so many questions. First of all, let's start from the beginning. What was your first exposure to wrestling? Did you watch it? Did you go watch wrestling shows when you were young?
Okay, hello. My name is Claudio Monterossi. I'm born and raised in Italy, in Rome. And more or less, I've been going to be 50 years. And next month, I'm going to be in this country, USA. And when I come over here, I was expecting to play soccer. But soccer was famous back here then. In the 70s, and I took I had a freestyle wrestling and Greco-Roman wrestling behind me, and I was more or less like a street fighter. Please, I play a little soccer in here, but it's how I went. I went from a soccer to wrestling, and what happened? I don't want to use my real name, and encountered to me. To change my name to Mario, and the only way it was the name is dedicated to my cousin. My first cousin's name is Mario Martino, which also use his name and last name for back then when the computer came out to use it as my name. It's all Mario started. Mario started back in the 74. But I got recognized back in 1979, and I had a friend, which I called Italian Stallion, and he used to call me Mario too, and it's how everything started. As a Super Mario.
So
I'm a big guy.
So you started using the name Super Mario in 1979 when you started wrestling, and
yeah, it was before, 5 hours before. But when I started to get recognized in the wrestling field, and it's when I started 79, it's still 79, way prior to them. And 11 years ago, I also featured in an international magazine called Video Game Trader.
Yeah,
they featured me as a professional wrestler. They recognized me as a professional wrestler in 2010, and the magazine called about the wrestling field, the wrestling. It's they even got a Mario Italian last name and a magazine. Basically, so everything started back then.
Okay, so you started using the name before the video game Mario came out.
Oh yeah. 10 years before.
Wow.
It was 10 years before Super Mario, the Nintendo game came out. In fact, they inquired me to stop using Super Mario, and I told them, I say, it's a matter who first, the chicken or the eggs come up first, and vice versa.
So they actually contacted you and asked you to stop using the name?
Yes.
Oh,
but
wow.
I told them, I bet Super Mario way before you guys, and now you're going to expect me to change my name, which I'm not going to change. And they left me alone. They recognized me as a Super Mario. They don't say nothing to me after that.
Okay. So how did you start? Who trained you to become a wrestler, and when did you? How did you break in?
Like I say, I had a wrestling background, and when I came over here in the United States, I was set to play soccer more than anything, but it wasn't available here. I did many soccer game. I played many soccer team in this country, but it was recognized by no one. I was traveling United States, do the soccer game, be in a soccer field, be with my team, but it was recognized like it's recognized today. But this I switched from there, and like I say, I had a background in the Greco-Roman freestyle. Who teaching me basically I teach myself with a Jimmy Valiant called Jimmy Valiant called the Boogie Woogie Man. Me and him been on the road for 25 years. I've been on the road with the Jimmy Valiant for 25 years.
Wow.
It's called the Boogie Man. And basically I was with him. After the book is I got a bunch of story in the book. His book, who's your daddy? Jimmy Valiant. And that was in his book many times.
Interesting. You mentioned the Video Game Trader magazine, the interview they did with you. I've read a copy online, and there are a few interesting things that caught my eye that you mentioned to them. One thing that you mentioned was a lot of the fans, especially the kids, would come out to you after the show and ask you, "Where's the princess?" So when you first heard that, what was your first reaction? And when were you aware of the video game? Since you predated the video game, when were you aware that there was a video game character called Mario?
Well, I knew right away it was a character movie, as Mario. Yeah. And the kids, the kids always love me. I had a gimmick with me when I walk in the ring, when I walk outside, but usually I carry on my side, on my right side, I carry a kitchen towel, which I had it from my restaurant. I had a restaurant, and a sport ball. And what I did, I used to sport to the kids. And me, as a baby face, we call baby face, they allowed my fan, the children allowed me to sport to them soaking wet, like I take a shower. And I did it many times. I say, get me, Mario, get me. They move their hands up, to get the attention. I scored to the kids, which I was scored to them very little, but some people did a little bit soaking wet. But they love my gimmick. I don't know why, but they love my gimmick.
It connected with the fans a lot, especially the kids, from what I'm hearing.
Yes.
So what were some of the first promotions and territories you worked in early on?
I did independent. I was independent, and at the same time, I was working for a federation called PWF, PWF Professional Wrestling Federation. George South out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I worked with Italian stallion. His name is Gary Sable, and George South, and it's basically went over there. I got a couple people. I introduced them in the wrestling business. One I call Mark Canterbury, which he came up to my office.
Henry Godwin.
He came to my office. Eddie Godwin. We also kind of related together because his nephew, which I teach him too. I teach wrestling, and he's my son-in-law.
Oh, that's really nice.
Skiddo Godwin. Yeah, Skiddo Godwin is my son-in-law. He also go by Juicer, the Juicer. In fact, I saw a picture today, him wrestle against the Undertaker, Mark McCallus. And I know Mark real well too, Mark McCallus, the Undertaker. And basically went to everything. I started a few people, even people, they call them Men on the Mission. Men on the Mission, one, the King Mabel. And the Surmo. I took them to Memphis with me, and after 1 month, they went to WWF. But I take a credit about at least two people I take them in the big league. It's which I was working for USWA at the time out of Memphis for Jerry Lawler, and the always federation, what they are called USWA.
Yes, Memphis.
It's basically it's all start. Everything started in a row.
You mentioned you had a restaurant. Did you cook personally? And what is like the signature dish of your restaurant that the people always come back to eat?
But in the restaurant, I used to have an Italian restaurant, and all the boys, they travel through. They start to see me, like right now. I do have a little shop, and I do have a wrestler. They come and see me. Promoters come and see me. And I had it 3 weeks ago. I had a Joe Wheeler. I don't know if you know Joe Wheeler by the name.
No.
Which he does interview for WWF, WWE, and lots of different independent federation. Which he started to see me. He also interviewed me. And I signed a few autographs the way he could give it away to people. And so we did. They come and see me. These are the last one. And I got people every day, every week, they recognize me. And I do have a fan all over. They come and see me all the time. Just to come and see me, totally see me. And I live closer to a big place in Tennessee, which is called the Great Smoky Mountain, which is a very famous for the black bear. And people come and visit her, but lots of people also that I'm a fan. They come and see me personally.
That's really interesting. What's your signature dish at your restaurant? Like the best thing at your restaurant?
Well, really, I had everything. The boys used to like lasagna. I do have manicadi. I do have everything. Everything is homemade. I'm a master chef. As far as my brother and my family, my mom, my sisters, my brother, they all, we are executive chef.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also on the YouTube as my first name and last name. If you look at there, under my name, first name, middle name, and everything, through Carolina, they call the Carolina people.
Yeah.
And you see interview I did for the magazine for the restaurant.
Oh, I saw that interview. Really interesting. I wanted to see the food since you mentioned Italian food, and it's authentic homemade Italian food that has to be the best.
Yeah, the homemade. In fact, we are number one, a number one restaurant in the state of South Carolina, in the state, in the city.
Yeah, they mentioned that on the interview. I was very intrigued.
Yeah, and the guys interviewed me. His name is Greg Everett. He owns several stations, independent stations all over the USA.
Mm-hmm.
And he introduced me back in the days. I should say 20 years ago plus. But we are number one restaurant. The restaurant is 35 years old now. And next 2 months from now, going to be 36 years, and we're still in business. We're still cooking.
What's the name of the restaurant? If we're ever in town, we'll stop by.
The name is Villa Romana. Villa Romana, Romana. It's in Middle Beach, South Carolina.
That's very nice. Do you ever think of writing like a cooking book or making like videos on YouTube, cooking videos, you in character, like in wrestling character? I would watch that, and I'm sure a lot of people would watch that too.
Yeah. Well, we do have several shows on the Turner Vision, and the cooking show. And my brother, we've been thinking already for many years to write a book about a restaurant and about the menu, about the recipe, which we give it away. In fact, if you look at recipe in our restaurant, which is our YouTube, you can see the recipe is written down. Point to point from point A to point Z. They tell you exactly what we put in the ingredients. We put many things we put in a recipe, and people can look at it and they know it's authentic and it's fresh.
You mentioned Jimmy Valiant, and you tagged with Jimmy Valiant in the 90s in the USWA, in the Memphis territory, and you mentioned you were riding with him all the time. Any funny stories about the Boogie Woogie Man?
Yes, I can tell you. I do have we was on Frankfort, Kentucky, in the capital, and they do have a restaurant over there. We stopped in a restaurant after we did the show. It was me, Jimmy Valiant, which I never call him a Jimmy, I always call him Boogie, and he called me Soups. He never called me Super Mario. He called me Soups. And we had a young kid named Dan Cooley, which his daddy was a professional wrestler also, was the West Virginia coal miner. It's called Wendell Cooley. Anyway, we went over in Kentucky, they got it called Shawnees. In other parts of the United States, it's called they call different name. And what we did, we went inside, we sit down on the booth. It was a petition. This is a young kid, baby face. It was a nice looking kid. He said, he burped. We look at him, and me and Boogie, we look at him and say, happy birthday. And he said, thank you. Well, now, because behind the petition was a lady get an order from her people, and we don't pay attention. We got a meal, we got a there. At a certain point, the Boogie looked at me and said, hey, Soups, look behind you. I said, what are you talking about, Boogie? He said, look behind you, brother. I said, what? I turned around. There was a gentleman with a half inch some cake, with a candle lit, with his hand in front of the candle, walk. And he had a waitress behind. And as soon as they passed me, I said, well, somebody must have a birthday. He stopped. The girls made the half moon circle in front of the table. He came up to our table, he put the cake on top of the table. They started to sing happy birthday. Me and Boogie say, oh my God. We say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. And it was over. There was a Shawnees, which over in Kentucky called Big Boys, but in South they call Shawnees. Anyway, we did another 2 or 3 restaurants to make sure we don't want to seal the cookie. We don't want to seal the cake, but we want to see if it could be done.
Again.
We did it 2-3 times at different restaurants. We have to say anything. We say happy birthday. And they bring us a cake, everybody. Everyone, they bring us a cake. It could be done. It was funny. I could tell you how to do it.
I'll make sure I try it sometime.
We say happy birthday. He birthday. We say happy birthday. It worked. We prove it for the book. It can be done. Not to seal the cake, but to prove it can be done. Something, you know what I mean? It says something happy birthday, and a waiter or somebody going to hear you from management, and they bring you cake. We did it in my restaurant. I did it in my restaurant to other people. So I told them, to get a cake, to make sure they got it. It worked. It worked every time. Trust me.
That's interesting. I saw a comment on a YouTube video that was highlights of a promotion called JDR All-Star Promotion from 2001. And in the caption, it said that they had a tournament called the Claudio Monterossi Tag Team Invitational. Do you know about this tournament? Yeah. Why was the tournament named after you? That's very interesting. I couldn't find anything about it.
Well, really, it's not after me. It was after my son. In the year 2000, I lost my son in a single car wreck. It was not a future wrestler. Jerry Lawler was talking about my son, and they answered Jimmy Valiant, Boogeyman, son called Ansem. And he said, these 2 boys are going to be my next tag team, better than the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robbie Gibson, which I know them personally. But my son died in a single car wreck. The car was defective, and he lost his life. And they want to do that. It was dedicated to my boy. It was in Princeton, West Virginia. And I was unaware they were going to be happening. I received a big trophy over 5 foot tall trophy, and from my son, by all the boys. And to me, it was a surprise. It was an honor what they done for me, actually for my son. Invitational to Claudio Monteros the second. In fact, if you look under Claudio Monteros, I got a second in Roman numero. Yeah, they thank you very much really to let me know, and the people now they're gonna know it was a based to my son, not to me. I was involved in I wrestled, in fact, but my son, it was to my son.
I'm sorry for your loss, and I didn't know. I'm sorry to bring that up. And God rest his soul. And it was a co-promotion between a lot of promotions, a lot of wrestlers from different promotions in the Virginia, Carolinas participated. So I'm sure it felt good for you at the time. And this is the nice thing about the wrestling community. It's all a big family. And something like this proves it. And you don't hear about this. So it's really nice to see that move that the wrestling community.
We had lots of people. And we had not only from North Carolina, Virginia, and South Carolina, but we had far away. We had people, they come from all over. They can make it because it was something, it come out with a very short time. Very short time it come out, and some they canceled the show just to come out there. We had a large group, and only the one associated and the post, but there was people not even posted. They just come out there. We had quite a few matches, yes. But it was an honor for me, and there was just an honor. And okay, I'm okay.
It's all right. Take your time. It's I'm sure it's not an easy subject.
No, it's a memory. No, I had to be known for this. I don't mind it. Just a memory. It's a memory of my son. In fact, he was a wrestler with another great wrestler, which I admire. And in the restaurant, he used to come in the restaurant, and his daddy from Canada, and his brother, Hart, Dark Brothers. Owen Hart used to wrestle with my boy all the time in our restaurant. I had a larger restaurant and had two rooms. One was a private room. The boy used to come in there, again, the private room, that way he'd feel at easy. And then Owen Hart, every time he come into the restaurant, he used to wrestle with my son. I had a big name come up to my son. I had a Sid Vicious, Owen Hart, Undertaker. I had Paul Orndorff, and I had everybody come there, come to my restaurant. They stopped by, and they really appreciate it.
But like I said, the wrestling community is one big family.
Yes,
it's very touching and moving.
A special challenge match. It's Super Mario against Galaga.
I want to talk about the USWA in the 90s. Like we mentioned, you teamed with Jimmy Valiant in a few matches there, and you've actually shared the card with a lot of WWE superstars at the time that were coming to Memphis and wrestled, like Lex Luger, Yokozuna, Jeff Jarrett, Jerry the King. You mentioned Owen Hart. He used to come to the USWA with Bret Hart to wrestle, and you shared the cards with them as well. I want to ask you about one wrestler that caught my eyes that you faced in the USWA. I hope you can remember him. In April 4th, 1994, you faced a guy called Galaga, and you defeated him. I'm sure Galaga was created to go with your the Super Mario gimmick, because Galaga is also a video game. And there's no information on Galaga, so I'm assuming he was a masked wrestler. And they made him to face you. Do you happen to know, do you remember Galaga, and do you remember who was under the mask or who was Galaga?
Well, really, I never know, because he had a mask all the time.
Yeah.
He never really actually. If anybody knows, it's a Jerry Lawler.
Okay,
Or
that's
you know,
interesting.
but they never because confidentiality. I never really know who was the guy. But I know I defeated him, and I was working for my belt, which I faced after I faced the Vampire Warrior, which over there, and I lost the match. But I had a confrontation prior to that with his manager, and which he passed away maybe a month and a half ago. Burt Prentice. Name is Burt Prentice. I faced off him in Memphis, at the studio. It was a live TV, and I faced him off. And Vampire Warrior come there because I want to fight the Vampire Warrior the following week, which I did. And to my help come Jeffrey Jarrett and Jerry Lawler come to my help because Vampire Warrior come from behind again, and we started to scuffle. And they took over a Vampire Warrior, Jeffrey Jarrett and Jerry Lawler, and I faced the Brian Anderson, which is it's a Jerry Lawler's son, which he passed away a couple of years ago in Memphis. But then the following week, I had a match with him at the Mid-South Coliseum, which he defeated me, and he gave me a close line from behind, which I was a beat up on his manager, Burt Prentice, and it's all happened. But then I'm supposed to get the belt again. I come up all the way to the top on the rank, and I'm supposed to go for the heavyweight title again. And but my wife had a cancer. She was dying, and I stopped it for a few months, and then she passed away. But I never really wrestled for the heavyweight belt because I went on the scorecard. I went all the way down the rank. I was top of 500 a couple of times, and the top of 500. Recognized in the German league. It's called Super Mario Wrestling Cage Match, and I'm faced there too. It's a German representation. I represent the German all over the world, really. But it was my finish about my heavyweight champion. I was a champion in different federation. I hold the title many different federation. I got the belt, but I got it in my studio. I know it with me. I got a belt and I got a bunch of pictures over there, and the people come out there look at it as a souvenir. And they want to take a picture with me at my studio. But there was the last time I had it was like in 1996 when the last time I wrestled I wrestled after there, but I took a few months off because of my wife. Then in 1997, early 1997, she passed out. She passed away. She died of cancer.
I'm sorry to hear about your wife, sir. And for anybody wondering, go on, sir.
It's the history of the world. You can never change the history. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. No matter how good or bad they are, or ugly or beautiful, you can never change the history. The history is there to stay. I'm sorry. I believe it that way.
For anybody wondering, Vampire Warrior is David Heath, known as Gangrel in WWE.
Yes, Gangrel. Yes.
Yeah.
I wrestled as a Gangrel. After Memphis, he came out as a Gangrel for WWE.
And did he have the teeth already, or no, back then?
Yeah, no, when he was a Vampire Warrior, yes, with me, he had a teeth, the top teeth in front, like a Vampire Warrior. He was a vampire. He never sucked my neck.
Super Mario against Vampire Warrior, very interesting. And you said that the only person who would know who Gallagher is Jerry Lawler. So I'm guessing he created the character specifically for you to face you.
I think he created the character, but he was there. He was there. I can say he created, but I should say 90% he did, but the other 10% no, because some people they wrestle under the hood. The people don't know who they are.
Yeah, because there's no other mention on the internet of Galaga. You're the only person who wrestled Galaga, so that's very interesting that Super Mario faced Galaga in a wrestling ring. Only in wrestling would something like this happen.
And I'm the only one to beat him up too.
You've heard that, people. Super Mario beat up Galaga.
I got to the first time. Yeah.
That's why he quit. He never came back because he got beaten by Super Mario.
Yeah, by Super Mario. Yeah, I guess I was more popular than him, and I beat him up. I went on top. Say, and I do have a two pharaoh move. One I call Pizza Splash, and the other one I call it belly bump.
Wait.
If you look at
your move is called Pizza Splash.
Yeah, the Pizza Splash, and the other called belly bump. Okay. In fact, if you look at me and Mr. I call Vampire, not Vampire Warrior, but
Gorgeous
he gets
George
to be up on my table. Yeah. Huh?
Gorgeous George?
Yeah, me against Gorgeous George. In fact, I gave him the belly bump. When he locked up, we struggle. We move each other. At a certain point to get away, he was so vicious. I gave a belly bump, and he pulled out of the ring. He was mad. He was mad about what he can do. And I also did it against, another fellow, which I drop kick him. I gave a belly bump first, and I also go for the sit down, but on top of him, but I did a drop kick on the guy. And it was back in 1994. I drop kick. I could drop kick. I'm 5'3". I was 410 pounds. Now I'm less than 300 pounds. I did it. My weight was my gimmick too. Yeah, there was a part of the game.
Did you, after hearing that there is a character called Super Mario, did you change anything of your appearance or gimmick or moves, or did you try to name a move after the video game?
No, like I say, I did the Pizza Splash and the belly bump, but also I created another move which I call reverse, Frankenstein, and I teach him. Back in August this year, I retired my person, and I was over Boogie. I was over Boogie's camp in Charlottesville, Virginia, and what I did, I put one of my sweater, wrestling sweater, and I got an emblem, wrestling weightlifting with my name is Super Mario. I put in the middle of the ring and I retire because I do have a aneurysm in my heart. It's a 5 centimeter, and I can pick it up and no more things. Otherwise, I will die. And so the doctor told me. But I saw Boogie over there, and when I went to there in the studio, and I went to there for his birthday, for Boogie's birthday, also to visit him.
His real birthday.
And I saw
his real birthday.
Birthday. Yeah, birthday, not birthday. And anyway, I was there. I put in the middle of the ring. I put in my sweater, and I got a couple boys in, and I told everybody, so I will introduce a new move. And I explained to the boys what to do. There was the boys, from the school, and they called reverse Frankenstein, and it's hard to explain, but he said to face, the guys jump on top of the shoulder. It's in the backside. And when the guys jump behind, the guys, the bad guy or whatever, hook the legs up with the both arms, and the guys go down. Instead of go forward, they go down, and the guys are going to follow him down. And when you follow him, you're going to lay in the back on the ground, on the mat. And there was a 1, 2, 3 because he can't get up. He can never get up. He can never kick or nothing. I call reverse Frankenstein. You know what Frankenstein is?
I know what a
Mine's the reverse.
Frankensteiner is. Now I'm trying to imagine the reverse. You mentioned cagematch.com, and on there I noticed that they're like up to recently, even a few years, like maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, you are in a lot of battle royals, and you always seem to win these battle royals. Tell me about that. Why do you always end up winning these battle royals?
Wow. I don't know why, but I did. I faced many guys.
What's your tactic in a battle royale?
Just to stay put. Stay put. Every time somebody comes there, just so brush it off. And you have to do it. If you brush it off, keep it quiet, keep it cool, and keep it to yourself right there. And people are not going to bother you, but some people they're so vicious to do things right there, and they end up on a short stick, on a short stick, they get kicked out and everything. Me, it's just a tactic. I said tactic. I call it tactic, a maneuver. It's beside the point too. The people, they kind of left me out maybe because I was a Super Mario. They like my gimmick. They like my stuff. They say, "Oh, Mario is nothing." He's a good guy. Let's go leave him alone.
Yeah,
there was another tactic.
They get distracted by Super Mario, I guess.
Yeah, but my personality, yes.
Yeah.
My personality is the way I am.
You mentioned earlier to me that your granddaughter is a director. What's your favorite movie?
From her?
From your favorite movie?
My favorite movie all time?
Yeah.
I like an epic movie. I like a history movie. I like really like I can name it one called El Cid, but they do have other movie. I like history movie. I like a history movie. I like to learn there, and it's I'm a writer. I write poetry. I guess my family is the same way. I do have a cousin. My mom she writes her own autobiography. She write my mom was a writer. I'm a writer. So my cousin and other people too. I got a painting. All my family, they do different things. Right there, very, very, very different, but in the same, more or less the same category. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Very artistic. Is that because being an Italian?
Oh yeah, yeah. Look, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. I'm not him. I'm not trying to be him. No way. But I am
somewhere there's the gene, I guess, for being an artist.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got it. I guess because I run into the family, but it's in a good world. It's a good world, the way we do things, the way we really do.
Can you give me like a line of poetry, just one line? Even if it's in Italian, that will be even better.
Well, I can say... I can say in Italian language, but I only can say one little strophe because I non pick it up. E se la donna, quanta superbia e quanto orgogliosa in sé, la donna che ispirò canto d'amore, eretta altera sul piccolo piede al par di rose qualche gente fiore. E talk about a lady, talk a lady, and it's a put on a statue, and it's just like a roses. But you better watch it because they got the tone that can paint you and give you pain. And it's a long poetry, but it's a...
Sound like I just wanted to capture that. About your granddaughter, you mentioned, what's your favorite movie that she worked on?
Oh, she just finished a movie, the Bruce Willis. It's going to be in the international market in December 3rd.
Just in time for Christmas.
Yeah. Well, Bruce Willis, I shall not say them, but I will say them. And between us, he got an old timer, Bruce Willis. And they express, real quick. They did a quick 3 movie with him. And one of the 3 movies going to come out in December 3rd. I don't remember the name now, but they're going to come out December 3rd. And they're going to be an international market. If you look at December 3rd, and she's there. Her name is there. Everything. But I don't remember the name now because I was aware you're going to ask me this question.
It's all right. You mentioned it briefly. I wanted to ask.
The name is, yeah. What you need to do is look at it on December 3rd when it come out. They said it's going to be issued on December 3rd. They're going to come out. I know this. Now she's home with her mom. She go back in the south, and after day after tomorrow, she go back down south to do another movie. And I think she's going to do a short movie now. But I said she did one with the Mel Gibson not too long ago, and other people.
That's right.
Yeah, I also got a son, a stepson, and his name is Jason Benjamin. He did many movies. He's the one in the movie called Fly with the Denzel Washington. And he's a stunt coordinator. He's a stunt boss.
Oh, nice.
And his name is Jason Benjamin. Jason Benjamin is my stepson. And he did like a 27, 28 movie. So, and he was a wrestler before this. And somebody told me he was even better than Hulk Hogan as a wrestler in the very beginning. See, and I know Hulk Hogan too. And they told me he was even better than Hulk Hogan as a wrestler, but he quit. He went on as a stuntman. He was on the special force, and he's a stuntman.
Yeah, a lot of wrestlers end up being stuntmen, and they end up being the best stuntmen.
Yeah, well, he's a big in the stuntman more than he's big in the wrestler. It's a difference right there, the two. Yeah. See, and he had to. Right, he got the quality. He had the quality. He got the quality to be a professional wrestler, be up in the league. But he never did. He was a captain, firefighter. He was a firefighter captain in the fire department, but also was a stuntman. And he stunt coordinator. He coordinated many stunts in the movie. He did a short movie. He had one called Lieutenant Kendrick, Homicide Detective. He's on there all the time. As a stunt man or a stunt promoter right there, a stunt coordinator, who was an actor. He was on both. He was to do both right there. Yeah, I guess running the family. It's right there. Everything running my family. My family, what do there.
That's very interesting. Very interesting family. Very diverse family as well. That's very nice. And I'll turn it back to the beginning. Like I mentioned to you, I heard about you from Jim Cornett's podcast. He briefly mentioned you. He said there was a wrestler from West Virginia. He was called Super Mario, and he said he had a restaurant as well. So that was very interesting. Have you ever had any dealings with Jim Cornett, or have you met him?
I met Jim Cornett millions of times. I see him millions of times. He worked really on Louisville, Kentucky, in the Garden, where Muhammad Ali used to fight. And every Tuesday night, we call the Loop. Mm. Every Tuesday night, we used to go from Memphis Saturday morning live TV show to Saturday night in Nashville on the fairground. Then they go back to Memphis, do Monday night. We do in the Mid-South Coliseum wrestling. We travel all night. The next day, which was a Tuesday night, we was in Louisville, Kentucky, and he was there. Most of the time, he was to do the Loop with us. He was to take a picture, be manager and everything. Oh, I wrestled with him millions of times. No against him, but we in the same card with him and when his people, boys, the wrestling, they're like Midnight Express and other people, he mentioned. We come close to my town where I had the restaurant in Beckley, West Virginia, over there with the Sandy Scott. The Sandy Scott is another from Smoky Mountain. And between me and you, I think I created Smoky Mountain. Me and Tim Horner. I don't know if you know Tim Horner.
Yeah, Tim Horner.
It's called White Lightning. Tim Horner called the White Lightning. He worked for WWF a short period of time, but he did. And I think me and him created that because at the time, he was with me in the PWF out of West Virginia, which they travel all over. It was based in Charlotte, but they come out to West Virginia, Russell. Tim Horner, White Lightning was with them, it was with me. And we stopped on my restaurant late at night, and I used to cook a pizza, lasagna, something for Stelio, Italian Stelio, which is the boss, and also with the George South, which is also the boss for PWF, and Tim Horner was with me and them. And Tim Horner had a little book, and he was wrote down everything I was saying. As a businessman, I was taught to the boys like George South, Jim, and Italian Stallion, Gary Sabo, and Tim Horner, and I think he took it from there. And when we had a for the Armstrong, he died. Brad Armstrong died. I was there too for Brad Armstrong Memorial, in Tennessee. I saw Tim Horner, White Lightning, and I asked him. I said, Tim, I want to ask you a very serious question. I said, do you start the Smoky Mountain? Me and you? He said, yes, we did. Evidently, he started right there, but he didn't have enough power or enough money to really start the business, and he handed the business to Jim Cornett and Sandy Scott. Sandy Scott passed away, peace on his soul, but so this is true. And so, I'm pretty sure Tim Horner never lied to me about, starting there. And he was wrote down. Everything I say something, I remember to have a good memory. Every time I said something right there, Tim Horner was wrote down exactly what I said, and that's how he started.
So you met Jim Cornette when he was very young and was a photographer.
Yeah, he was working inside because it was a base in Louisville, Kentucky. Mm. He was come in and took the picture of all the boys and gave it to them. It's how his career started.
Yeah.
To me, he started to me, gave a picture to the boys, when they come to Louisville, and the boys appreciate it, and he achieved so much friendship with them. And it's really how his career started. I believe it that way. You know what I mean? I may be wrong, but I don't think so. I think because of what he did, the way done. Usually, it's very simple things. Sometimes it make you a big, go from small things to big things. It's over to Jim Cornette, and he's a good talker. He's a very good talker.
Very good talker. You mentioned pizza. What's the perfect pizza? What should a perfect pizza have for ingredients, in your opinion?
My perfect pizza, I call pizza alla Roma. I use Roma tomatoes, fresh Roma tomatoes on top of the pizza without no sauce, just the salsa from the tomato, the juice from the tomato, and then I put cut the chicken and a little chicken breast, cut the little pieces, and they put on top of there with a little oregano, a little basil, and the mozzarella cheese, a very low mozzarella cheese. I mean, to me, it's a number one. To me, it's one of my recipe. Pizza alla Roma.
Sounds delicious.
No, Roma.
Thank you very much, Mr. Claudio, to be with me here today, to make the time to talk with me. It was very interesting. I can say like 99% of the things you mentioned are not online and you can't find them online. So it's very nice to document everything you said here today. Very interesting chat. And I thank you very much for being here today. Any last messages from the original Super Mario to the wrestling fans and wrestling community all around the world?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anytime you want me to be back on podcast, just give me a holler. I'm going to be glad to say more story about my experience in the wrestling business.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Special challenge match, Super Mario.
Super Mario,
Yeah, he's
back
been
in the
here before.
USOA, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be glad to see him back. Galaga will be his opponent in a special challenge match coming up. Did I pronounce that right? I didn't pronounce the name of it. I'm not really sure there.